Okay, welcome to our New York Giants Preservation Society meeting for tonight, September 30th, 2025, with Megan Hahn, Nancy Mitchell, and even Chuck Mitchell. They are the relatives, the daughters, and son-in-law of the great Bobby Thompson. Next week would have been the anniversary of the shot heard around the world, which would be the 74th anniversary. So next year, going to be party time in here for the
Okay.
75th anniversary. Um, just a few things before we get started with our ladies. Who's ever celebrating Yom Kippur, easy fast. Our next meeting will not be until October 16th, so no meeting next week. Sounds far away, but we're meeting on a Tuesday, so it seems a lot further than it actually is. And that's with Rob Elias. Elias. Rob wrote a book on Danny Gardella and the leaving to go to Mexico and changing everything with the players' union. So, and lastly, if you've been reading the papers, Willie Mays auction has netted $6.5 million. And
Wow.
one guy, and he's in Florida, so maybe Frank knows this guy, Ron Furman. He's a commercial real estater. He bought a lot of that stuff. So if anybody knows about Ron, maybe get in touch with me to find out all the stuff that's going on. But tonight we have a very special night. We're gonna have Megan and Nancy talk about their dad, what they know about him, more familial stuff than you don't have to ask, did he take a sign or not take the sign? I'll ask that one question for everybody. And if they know the answer, they know the answer, but there's no sense badgering them because, they're just two young ladies who are going to talk about and celebrate the life of Bobby Thompson. So let's all welcome Megan and Nancy. Ladies, thanks for
Thank you.
joining us. The floor is yours. Why don't you tell us about your dad?
Who's going first,
Well,
Meg?
I guess you should go first because you're the older
Because
sister.
I'm the old one. Well, first of all, I know everybody, of course, wants to know about the sign, and I know we're not going to talk about it all night, but we need to talk about it a little bit. And Josh, you're good friends, Gary, with Josh Prager, I do believe.
Yes,
And
great guy.
yeah, he's a great guy. Well, we lived in Savannah and we were up visiting Daddy, which we did a lot from Savannah. And I was there when Josh Prager
Third.
called him. And I did not know who he was talking about, but it was a very quiet conversation. And he was just very low key. And so when he got off the phone, I said, what was that about, Daddy? And he's like, well, it's this reporter uh, who wants to do a story on the Giants stealing the signs in 51. And it instantly hit me. You guys were stealing signs. And then my next instant thought was, did you steal the sign for the home run? And it was a very strange feeling. It's like I had no idea because, of course, he never talked about it. So, that being said, Josh Prager, his book, which is wonderful, he and I were kind of close. He wrote me a beautiful letter when the book came out and he signed my copy. But I just want to read this for everybody because I think it's interesting. And this is Josh Prager writing this to me. Concerning the stealing of signs, I was very careful, well, to tell the truth, to get it right, which means that I show the reader that yes, the Giants were cheating right through the game, but that ultimately only your father knows if he, quote, got the sign. And the point I make over and over again for the rest of the book is that it doesn't matter. Um, and second paragraphs, as I write there, the book is not about the debatable effects of a telescope on play, but about the undeniable effects of a secret on two men. Because whether or not your dad got a sign, and in parentheses, And he has his say in this book that he did not, unquote. It bothered him very much, more than any other giant that the team had cheated. This is because of his upbringing and because of his personality that I have come to care for your father a tremendous amount, and he's underlined tremendous, is evident in this book. Anyway, so Daddy would say no, he did not steal the sign, and we will really never know until we're all in heaven. Wherever we go, we'll be in heaven. And I can't wait. Then we'll all know. But no, he would say no, he did not steal the sign.
I think it was apparent from the book, according to your dad and Josh Prager, the signs were available, but he claimed that he did not take the sign. So why don't we talk about your father as a family man? Because I heard he was the most humble and nicest man around.
Yeah.
Did you ever meet him, Gary?
I met him in Staten Island. He was honored. Harvey, was that in 2009, 2008, somewhere around there?
Somewhere around then, he was honored by the Staten Island Hall of Fame, I think,
Right.
Oh
Sports Hall of
yeah,
Fame.
yeah.
And
I remember that.
I'll show you some pictures of that a little later on. But what a nice man. And we asked sign the ball and take pictures, and he was great.
Yeah. I know growing up, he coached my brother's little league in Watchung, and I'm sure it was kind of a thrill for people, but he was a stickler for rules. Well, obviously rules, but would not allow the kids to swear. And these are probably 12, 13-year olds. And I know the kids would get benched if he felt that they were, mouthing off or whatever. So he, he was very, I don't know how to describe it. When I say polite, I mean, he really was just a wonderful man. He was a gentleman.
How do you ladies deal with knowing your dad hit the most famous home run in Major League Baseball history?
Well, because I'm older than Meg, and I was still young enough that I was old enough that I remember. And Meg, wasn't born for 10 years, so she really was never into the baseball. I was. Daddy, well, first of all, here is Dad and his mother, and he was very, very close to his Scottish grandmother. And he took Nana when he would be on road trip. He would take his mother. Now, a lot of these ball players could get a little wild and randy when they were, when they were traveling. Daddy would bring his mom with him, which was kind of funny. Um, so what is the point of my story? He grew up in a family that was, I think, his father, after reading the book and learning more about his dad, because his dad died when Daddy was, what, 16 years old.
Hmm.
Daddy's motto was, and Meg, you know this because we've said it to our kids, do what's right.
No, do it right the first time.
Very humble,
Yeah.
probably too much so. And in the book, it comes out that I think he lacked a little confidence at times. It bugged him that he would never be in the Hall of Fame. And he said, I just didn't have that confidence all the time. And that comes across clearly in the book. Because as far as athleticism, I remember going to the ballpark and he'd take me and they'd be warming up and they'd be running laps. And I think we were in Flagstaff, Arizona, and just watching him run, he's so graceful. And my brother also had that same athletic grace. Anyway, so Daddy was a family man. He was honest. He was just a really humble, good guy, and he always felt he owed something to his fans, and he would always stop and sign any kid's baseball. He was never too busy or too proud, and it used to annoy my mom because they'd be out at dinner, and he'd get people coming up to him, and my mom got reached the point where she's like, Bob, I'm over the baseball thing. Can we just, and he would stop and be very polite. And he just felt he had an obligation to all his fans
Mhm.
that supported him.
And
Well,
he signed all his own fan mail. And he would have buckets of it, and he would sit there and answer every single letter.
he was mentioned the other night, and I got confirmation from Mr. Met, Greg Prince. I was watching the Met game, and Pete Alonso hit a home run. I think it was number 264 or 265. And Gary Cohen, the Met announcer, said, he just passed New York Giant great Bobby Thompson. So your
No,
father,
and I missed that. I was watching the game, but
yeah, but it was nice hearing his name other than, hitting the shot heard around the world because
yeah, yeah,
many of the people here saw your father play and knew he was more than just the shot heard around the world. And he was a very talented, athletic baseball player. Maybe not a Hall of Famer, but in that very good category. So, um, as you ladies grew up, did he talk a lot about his time with the Giants or
No,
nope.
no, we did not talk baseball.
wow?
He could, and it's too bad. But then something I would be talking and then he'd tell a story. And it's like, when you live with it every day, hey, he's your dad. You don't dwell on every story, but something would trigger and he would tell a story where it's like, oh, really funny. I wish I had kept track of more stories that he had told. Um, it would be nice to tell some of them.
Yeah, and we had a very normal upbringing as children. I mean, you didn't play baseball back then to get rich, and he had a career afterwards, and we had a very nice childhood, but it wasn't anything extravagant, and it was just very normal. So I never felt day in and day out that I was living. I mean, he was my hero, but I didn't feel like we had this huge personality in the house. It just wasn't like that.
No, that was not his
Yeah.
nature. Now, he did give his mother, Nana wore 23. She had a charm that was very pretty. And when she passed, the family gave it to me. So I wore on my chain 23. And of course, people would say, "What is that? Why are you wearing 23?" And then I would kind of tell the story, but I really didn't. We're not real braggadocious in this family, so it's like, well, it's kind of personal, but since you asked, it's like, well, my dad used to play baseball, but um, I mean, that's
Well,
just
I was born on March 23rd, so I kind of feel like I have a little bit of, I feel a likeness to it.
that's true.
You
No,
mentioned before we got on that you threw out the first pitch of the World Series
Yeah.
game.
So
Talk
I'm
about
wearing
how
my World
how
Series jacket. I don't know if you can
oh
see.
very
man,
nice.
The back is plain, but the Giants made us wear these jackets when we threw out the first pitch, and they have, I don't know what it says, that patch on there, but it's the official. I think there's only two of them, Nan, right? No,
no,
probably.
the world's. I think the jackets. There were a lot of, but anyway, we each have a jacket. But
Yeah.
no, they had called. When was that?
They
That
called
was
me
they called you, and that was 20. Daddy died.
2010. Well, I can tell that story because
You tell the story.
my dad passed on August 16th, 2010, which ironically was the same day that Babe Ruth died, and also the same day that Elvis Presley died. So the Phillies and the Giants were neck and neck, I think, for
Meg, I think it was Arizona. I hate to tell you. I don't want to correct you. I think
no,
they're
I think it was the Phillies because the minute the Giants beat the Phillies, um, uh, Larry Bear called me and said, and Larry had called me after my dad passed, and since I watched all the games, I had made a comment about the Giants. You know, they had a really good season in 2010, and they were definitely hoping to get into the postseason. So Larry made the comment that said, "Well, if we're there, you're coming out, and you're going to be there." And I was like, I just kind of like said, "Oh yeah, right, uh huh." Well, the minute they lost, the minute the San Francisco Giants beat the Phillies, he called me and said, "You're coming out. We want you to throw out the first pitch." And I was just like, really? I mean, I'm nobody. So all I could think of was because of my sister, and my sister cared for my dad the last 2 years. He was living in Savannah, much closer to where she lives. I was a single mom raising three young children. So she really had a big part, with my dad, obviously. And I just felt like, obviously, I wouldn't accept that honor with just me. So they called her. We both flew out, and they treated us like royalty. And they picked us up at the airport, and we actually were at the ballpark, that Candlestick Park. Well, they don't call it that anymore. I forget what it's called now. but the new ballpark there,
Oracle Park.
yeah, it's unbelievable. It's like a postcard when you look at the sailboats out in the bay. So anyway, it was really
I know
quite
people that are rats.
they what?
Who's ever talking, please?
No.
You to take them out. Just
But anyway, that's how that whole thing
anyway,
about.
whatever.
You're more than welcome to.
I know,
Did
I
we-
know, but I don't wanna make it
Lawrence,
a big-
Lawrence,
I was gonna
whoever
make a
Lawrence
suggestion that I
is,
was
there we
gonna take
go.
them to
Mute.
sit.
Sorry, I apologize.
That's all right. No, that's all right. Nan, you can elaborate.
No, it was very exciting.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying too. And they did a flyover, and Lady Antebellum was playing,
The national anthem.
and they also played their song, which makes me cry anyway, but they were also pointed out my brother, who had passed in 2001. They mentioned him, and then they flash up on the big sign, Daddy and my brother, at which point they do the flyover, and now the tears, and now we go out and I'm supposed to throw a pitch, and I think I went, and the ball just dropped. And Megan, you threw it. I thought you were going to throw it over. We had two catchers catching for us. You almost threw it over his head. And it's like, here I had this, and I have a good arm because
I
Dad
don't.
had to throw. And this little stupid ball that rolled across the plate, and I was mortified.
Well, and I was always embarrassed. My dad, obviously was a good athlete, and I could never throw a ball. I throw like a girl, and it was just very embarrassing knowing that my dad was, such a great athlete. So I never conquered that skill.
Well, I had an arm. Hey, here's a picture. This is my brother and Daddy when the Mets and the
Go, man.
it was the
Yankees.
the Yankees.
Subway Series.
Yeah, and my brother was rooting for the Yankees, and I'm in the middle, and I'm embarrassed.
I don't see you in the middle.
I'm hiding my head. You can't see my
Okay.
head. Can
Okay.
you see it?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, all I know is, I mean, I'm not in charge of the Giants, but if I were you two ladies, I'd start warming up because next year, 75th anniversary, I'm sure the Giants hopefully will do the right thing and make it a big event out of this because it is a
Yeah,
big
I don't
event.
know. Well, it's funny. They used to call my dad their good luck charm because that year that no, that was after they were in the series, or they were in the playoffs, or previous seasons, obviously prior to 2010, and they would bring him out, and they were very good. They were very fond of him, and they were very good to him. And he was always happy to be part of whatever was going on. But
no,
who knows?
we have a closeness with the Giants. They've
Yeah.
been very good to us. And I'm trying to think, Meg, who was the guy, the great guy?
Peter McGowan.
Peter McGowan,
Yes.
Yeah.
who was wonderful.
Yeah,
he
he did the eulogy at my dad's
Yeah, he was
service.
a great guy.
Wonderful.
So no, feel
Yeah.
All right, before I let other people ask questions, give us both of you individually, give us a lasting impression on what you'd like your father to be remembered of, other than being the man who hit the most famous home run in the history of the game.
Meg, you go first.
Yeah. Well, it's been said over and over, but really the kind of person he was just a genuine, really decent human being. And I guess I don't really know what more to add to that, but I think people were very fond of him. And even when we had his funeral, the Yankees sent a beautiful arrangement to the family. I thought, well, that says something, because here's a team on the other side of the different league and whatever. But I mean, I think just the reputation he had was that he was just a really good guy. So that makes me feel good.
Yeah, and I would just to add to that, as I said earlier, he felt very loyal to his fan base, and he got a kick out of showing up. People would write him letters and say, Bobby, my dad is a huge Giants fan, and we're celebrating his 80th birthday. Is there any way that you could make an appearance and surprise him? And he would do that. And of course, they go nuts. And
Yeah.
he just got a kick out of that. No, he was a wonderful father. He was gentle. He was humble, sometimes to a fault. But he was a wonderful guy, and I went everywhere with him in baseball. And it's funny, I remember going out with him, as I said, and I've got a picture. I don't know where I put it. Anyway, and I remember all these people, all these ball players, and I mean, I'm looking at their kneecaps, but he took me everywhere, and he was always very well dressed. Yeah, and I don't know where it is, but anyway, Daddy was a good guy. He took me when we were in Milwaukee. There was a boy, Rocky, with cerebral palsy, and he visited Rocky every Saturday, and he took me with him to visit Rocky
Yeah.
when we were there. So I mean, that's
Oh,
just
and Nan, he also, if you remember, he would visit a children's hospital up in New Jersey, a cancer hospital.
yeah.
There was a
I miss the
Tomorrow's
Mars
Fund,
children's
and
very involved with
young children
their
with cancer, which just breaks your heart. And he said, "Wow, if you ever want to know who you are, you go over there and look at these kids, and it really puts you in your place." So he was just that kind of person.
yeah.
That's
Very
great.
proud of him.
May he rest in eternal
Yeah.
peace.
Hmm.
And may his memory be a blessing to both of you. All right, we're going to open it up. We're going to start with Harvey and then Dave Lipman. Harvey, you are up.
I'm online now.
There you
Frank,
are.
you want to talk also, Frank?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Harvey,
yeah,
you're up.
yeah, you fooled me, Gary. I thought I was batting third in that lineup. I got to give you a little bit of context, and I got to tell you something. I wrote something out. I was lucky enough to have dined with Bobby Thompson more than a half dozen times, and he was everything you say and more.
Hmm.
Just a little bit of context. I just turned 80. I was 6 when Bobby hit the home run. I have a vague recollection of with my mother walking on Westchester Square in the Bronx, who lived in the Bronx in the midst of all the Yankees fans. And there was a store that had a black and white TV set with the game on TV. I have this vague recollection, and there was a crowd of people around it. But I was 6. By the time I was 9, I was able to understand what was going on, and I took my Topps baseball card of Bobby Thompson in the Milwaukee Braves uniform and took a pencil and scratched it out and wrote New York Giants. Helen, my late wife, and I first met Bobby at a private reception which preceded a dinner of the Staten Island Old Time Baseball Players Association in February of 1995.
Harvey, you want me to try to find that for you?
If you could, while I'm
Yep.
talking,
Let's see.
how do you do that, Gary? I could still talk.
Yeah, you could still talk. Let me see what I can do here. All right, hold on.
Oops, I just went away.
I'm gone.
No, we see, don't worry, you're here. I hope.
See us.
All right, pictures. Let's
So
see.
let me tell you this. Bobby was very friendly with Bill Murphy. Bill and I were young assistant DAs in Manhattan. Bill became the district attorney of Staten Island, which was Bobby's home base. There it is. I see it, Gary. I see the thumbnail.
Can you all
Oh.
see that?
Wow, yeah.
That's February of 1995. I'm going to tell you some stories I'm going to make it quick. I wrote it out because what I learned when you hit 80 is you ramble a little bit, and I try not to ramble. Bill Murphy was very close friends with Bobby. They were golfing buddies, and the connection was wonderful. And when Bill and I stayed friends because we were Giant fans, and at this dinner, the Staten Island Old Time Baseball Players Association, I understand you could be a member. I was a member even though I wasn't on Staten Island, because if you played Major League Baseball, minor league baseball, college, high school, stickball, punchball, any kind of ball, you were a member of the group. And it was a dinner at the Knights of Columbus Hall on Staten Island. And this was a photo. I want to get right to this, one of the wonderful moments of my life, actually. We're walking into the hall. This was before the dinner. And Helen, she's the Dodgers fan wearing the red outfit in that photograph. She grew up a Dodgers fan, and she says to Bobby, who, as you see, towered over the both of us.
Yeah.
She says, Bobby, and she had this planned. I know. She didn't tell me, but she had it planned. She said, Bobby, I got to tell you something. I grew up a Dodgers fan. And Bobby said, that's all right, dear. My father was a Dodgers fan. And then he turned to me and said, until I signed with the Giants.
Right.
It's a moment that I will never forget. At the dinner, I was I was seated at the honored guest table, which was Bobby. I was sitting right next to him, and I would always get Bobby to discuss things other than the home run. Bobby, I instigated a conversation. I'm going to cut it short, but I got him to talk about his friendship with Ralph Branca.
Mhm.
And Bobby made the point that they had appeared together on the Ed Sullivan Show, where they sang a song to the tune of "Because of You."
Yeah.
The lyrics, you can get it on YouTube. But at this dinner, Bobby Thompson a cappella sang
Oh my gosh.
"Because of You."
We heard
Yet
that
he did
song.
not have the best voice either.
His
And
voice wasn't bad.
and what'd you say?
His voice wasn't too great.
Well,
His voice.
I hate to fight with his daughters, but
I
I'm
realize I'm raising my hand. No, he had a nice voice.
He
They
he
did.
were
did.
very
It was
musical.
Yeah, he
perfect
did.
pitch.
Yeah.
And my dear Helen gives me a whack with an elbow, and she says, "How come you didn't bring a tape recorder?" I said, "Who knew?"
That's funny.
Harvey, I'm going to share one other thing.
Hey, Gary,
Yes,
I'm just seeing your pictures and five faces across the top. Is that what
that's
everybody?
don't worry about anything
Okay,
else. As
got
soon as
it.
we got done with these 5 pictures, it'll be off.
Okay.
Harvey, you want to tell the ladies what this is?
Well, there was a dinner. You know, Gary, I'm trying. It was before 20. It's geez, 2005.
It had to be between the Nostalgia Society and 2010.
That Bobby
Because
was
you
honored.
invited me.
He was, yeah,
And
and
there's a
we.
stamp. They did the
That's the
stamp.
stamp.
Yes.
The stamp. I have that right here in my office.
Oh, yeah.
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 And that was a wonderful evening. But let me get back to the Staten Island Old Time Baseball Players Association, because Bill Murphy always would say to me, I would get Bobby. We had subsequently had a bunch of lunches and dinners, and I would get Bobby talking about anything but the home run, because I knew everything about the home run, and I knew Bobby knew everything about the home run. And by the way, he did not get the sign. And if you give me some time later on, I'll tell you how I know. And he said to me he did not get the sign. But getting away from the home run, I get him talking about the National Hockey League New York Rangers having won the Stanley Cup in in June of 1994. Remember, this dinner is in February of 1995. So when I hear that Bobby is a fan of the New York Rangers, I'm a fan of the New York Rangers. Bill is a fan of the Rangers. Kathy is a fan. Helen, we're all Rangers fans. So I say to Bobby, what did you think when during a semi-final game, the Islanders tied the game with 7 seconds to go in regulation? And if you don't know about hockey, we'll get to that later. But Bobby Thompson, the game goes into overtime.
Devils.
The Devils, right. And Bobby Thompson tells us that he couldn't watch the game. He was so nervous that he paced. That you guys had a garden outside the back of your house in Watchung, and Bobby told us he would pace and glance into the TV to see if the game was going on. What I found that extraordinary was Bobby Thompson at the center of the most famous home run in New York sports, if not all of baseball, which culminated a exciting pennant race, and he couldn't watch a hockey game. Because, and that
sounds
was
right.
and that was a sign of humanity,
Mhm.
and that was a sign of his warmth.
Hey, Harvey, do you
Harvey,
know
I'm going to be
Matoma?
showing. I want the ladies to discuss the contracts here, and then we're gonna move on. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Harvey, we will come back to you.
okay.
Ladies, do you see this?
Oh,
Yeah.
So this contract, let me try to get it bigger if I can.
Meg, is that what you sent,
Yeah, I
Gary?
sent these
Yeah,
to
here
Gary.
we
So
go.
this is the first one, and I don't know what year. 1947.
Mm-hmm.
And you see he's getting paid $8,000 for the
First season,
baseball
yeah.
season.
Bottom line.
Wow. Wow.
And the next one,
It's 51, right?
hold on.
Yeah.
Oh
Nope,
no,
that's
this
the
is the
same
same
one.
one. The next one is $23,000,
Yeah.
1951.
Yep.
And then the one after that, 35,000.
35. Okay. And that
So,
was 19. Yeah.
52.
but Harvey, we will get back to you. Do you want to say one last thing, Harv? Harvey, you muted. You want to say
Yeah,
one last thing?
I had muted myself because I didn't want to make noise. Can you still hear me, Gary?
Yeah,
Oh,
we could hear you.
Okay, you know what? Let me just say that there were a lot of things that Bobby discussed that had nothing to do with baseball. Um, and what I wanted to finish up with was that photograph that you showed of Helen, Bobby, and me. When I received it, I wrote him a letter thanking him, and he wrote me a letter back. He wrote
yeah,
me a thank you note.
Oh my
And if you
God.
could see
Oh,
this,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's
I see
great.
his handwriting.
that's his beautiful.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and it's the return address is Robert B. Thompson, 122 Sunlit Drive, Watchung, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just want to read to you in Bobby's words what he wrote to me, and then I'll wrap it up. And it's dated March 11th, 1995. Dear Harvey, just a short note to thank you for your very nice letter. I'm glad you had such a good time because I certainly did. I don't get the chance to have a hot stove, and he put quotes around hot stove, baseball session too often, and I certainly enjoyed ours. I was brought up on Staten Island, and one doesn't easily forget his friends. So it was a big night for me, too. Maybe we can do this again. Best wishes to you and Helen, Bobby Thompson.
Very
Wow.
nice,
Yep.
Harvey.
His daddy.
And that's a
Yep.
great picture in memory for you, Harvey. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
All right, Dave Lippman, you're up.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, as everybody's been saying, yes, he was. I had the good fortune to meet Bobby twice. The first time was at an autographing event with none other than Ralph Branca. The second was at an event done with Stuart Leeds and other Giants fans for the 50th anniversary of the home run. That's the club mascot on my shoulder. Don't mind
Oh,
her.
I love
Oh,
it.
that's funny.
Um,
Mhm.
he was indeed a very, very, very humble man. And I told him that my father spent most of his days when he was at NYU from 1945 to 1949 studying for his tests by sitting in the Polo Grounds bleachers
Uh-huh.
with his books and watching the Giants. He'd read the books during batting practice and then watch the Giants. And so his memory of Bobby is not the home run because he was in the Army about to go to Korea that day, but him being a solid line drive RBI man in the late 40s. When I told that to your dad, you should have seen his face light up. Somebody remembered him for something besides a single home run. So I just wanted to share that with you. I think that's something you might want to pass on to your children and grandchildren. And if you're wondering what I said to Ralph Branca, I told him that dad remembered him as being a pitching star for NYU at the same time. And he lit up for the same reason. So I
Yeah.
finished up by telling that there were people who
That's fine.
remembered them for whole careers. Now, my question to you is when you were growing up, did your father watch baseball at all? And what were his views, if any, about baseball in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s? You know, which players attracted his attention, the way
Yeah.
the game was played, that kind of thing. What interested them?
I think definitely he followed all sports, football, baseball, hockey, even maybe basketball. But I know he did like the Yankees, and I know he liked Derek Jeter.
Oh,
he thought Derek Jeter was a good guy. And I'm trying to think of anything else that comes to mind, but I'm sure there's a handful of men that he thought were good guys. But in his later years, when I remember the Yankees and Derek Jeter. Man, I don't even have anything to add.
Ladies,
He always
did he speak about Willie Mays at all?
he liked Willie Mays a lot.
Yeah.
He was I think Daddy, when they allowed the blacks to really to play, and we know that Willie Mays was on deck, when he hit the home run. Willie Mays had a lot of respect for Daddy because Daddy treated him with respect. Whereas back then it wasn't always so with these players. And Daddy, Hank Aaron, Willie Mays,
Jackie Robinson.
they all wrote when they passed. I got really nice notes from them, just basically saying, hey, he was a good guy. He treated everybody the same way. So I'm proud of that.
Bobby Thompson was at Willie Mays' farewell night at Shea Stadium. He was
Yes.
one of the guests of honor that.
Yes, he was.
Well,
Steve, you're up.
Well, I was going to just say.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as far as did Barry Bonds? Who did Barry Bonds play for?
San Francisco.
San Francisco. And I'll never forget. We were at a game, and Barry Bonds popped up, and he was very disgusted, and he just kind of threw the bat, and he did a slow jog to first base, and he was out. And Daddy commenting on that attitude. I mean, Daddy believed in hustle, and he was not impressed with players who did not comport themselves the way he was, I should say. He wasn't into, popping off, loudmouths, braggadocious, and that was just the nature of who he was. And it didn't matter whether it was football or baseball or anything. So he kind of had a code of conduct.
Boy, he wouldn't like the game today.
No, he would not be happy. And you think of the money that he made. And at the time, I mean, they were big shots with all their fellow friends. Nobody had any money. And you look now, and he felt an obligation to the ball players, the old timers, that they take care of the real old timers. And I wonder sometimes the current players, how much they contribute to the old guys who nobody ever remembers. Do they have any kind of moral conscience that makes them want to think of the people that came, before them and did not make much money at all? I don't know.
Steve, you're up.
This hat was for sale at Pac Bell. I'm not sure which years, but it was a good one, and obviously I couldn't reject it.
Cool.
I know a lot of people here will know this, and I'm sure the ladies too. Gary, you always say Giants royalty. Can't get better than this.
Oh, yeah.
Giants royalty.
Right up there.
That's what's so funny, because we don't see it that way. But anyway.
Well, your father missed out on 2 World Series checks. The Giants traded him in 54 to the Braves, and he didn't hit that World Series checks. And then the Braves in 57 traded him back to New York, and he missed out on the Milwaukee World Series.
Yep.
So he missed out on those 2 checks. Like Dave Lippman, I guess I didn't know you, Dave, but I must have been at that Forlini's deal also with Stuart Leeds and Bobby Thompson and signing and all that other stuff. But I had one opportunity to really, kind of like Harvey, meet him and get to know him a little bit. I must have spent at least an hour with him. In 1991, I was working at the Jewish Y in Riverdale, which is the Northwest Bronx. And you always wanted to get fundraisers. And I put together a baseball card show. I had a promoter, and he did it every month. And he paid the building $550 each month for the fundraiser. And the first one, we had 18 baseball card dealers. And about a month before the show, Gary had a card store in Monticello. I don't know if you remember that one on Main Street. He comes to me and he says, listen, I can get a ball player. I can get Phil Rizzuto or Bobby Thompson to come. Who do you want? And I said, what, are you kidding? So I said, I wanted Bobby Thompson. He said, that's good because Rizzuto wants an extra $500. Bobby Thompson comes. And like I said before everybody came on, he came with a subway and a bus. I met him in the parking lot. You must be Bobby Thompson. You must be Steve. And he went upstairs and we sat down, and there was a handful of people there, but there was someone who worked for Mirage, and there were 3 jackets those years. One was a 51 New York Giants jacket, one was the 1955 Brooklyn Dodger, and one was the 27 Yankees. So we presented your father, and I had asked you before.
Yeah.
Got to be somewhere. We presented him with this jacket.
Wow.
Nan, do you remember that?
What he said was, it was unbelievable. He says to me, he says, "Why are you giving me that?" I said, "Hey, man, you hit the home run. But so what?" So we gave him the jacket. We took pictures. It was in the local paper the next day, and I had one. And then I spent a good 45 minutes just sitting with him, talking about family, had some things signed, talking about the Giants, like you said, Gary Willie Mays, his career. And at that time he was 68, but he was a big man.
Wow. Yeah.
Powerful guy, and huge hands.
Big hands.
And it was very big hands. And it was just so wonderful to be able to, like kind of a moment in time to spend time with
that's neat.
a major athlete. So ladies, thank you for coming on.
Daddy called that shooting the breeze. He liked to shoot the breeze.
And he was good at it.
Yeah, and he got a kick out of that. So
Steve, so just so you know, Steve, when I sent out the invite to First Megan, she commented on the royalty. She's like, "What are you talking about?" But she is, and both of them are, and we cannot thank you ladies enough for coming. So
you know what, Gary?
Thank you.
It's very similar to when Faham asked us, "What's the name of your organization?" It's a kind of similar thing.
Yeah. Paul Ellis, Ram, you are up.
Ladies, thank you so much. It's delightful to hear the stories about your father. I had questions. The first one is for Nancy. Nancy, do you Savannah, Georgia?
We were in Savannah, Georgia for 38 years, and we have moved 4 years ago to a little town in South Carolina called Greenwood. We're south of Greenville, and we are out in the country on a lake, and we love it.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, I winter in Savannah this time for the last 8 years. It's wonderful. It's beautiful.
Where do you go in Savannah?
We have a condo on Whitmarsh Island.
Okay.
We're halfway between the city and the beach.
Yeah, no, we know exactly. We were there for a long time, but I'm enjoying it up here.
Okay. The other question I had, this is for either one of you. So when your dad retires from baseball, what kind of work did he do to supplement his income afterwards?
Well, I can speak to that because you were too little. Well, first of all, I remember when he retired, when he had been traded there at the end. It was 1960?
Yeah.
And I remember being in the living room, and I would have been 7. And I remember Mom and Dad sitting in the living room, and both being very serious, and Daddy saying, "Well, I guess that's about it. I think we're done here." And that was the end of baseball. He went to they sent
West
him
Vaco. Didn't they go to West Vaco?
He was with West Vaco, but he did not know what his skills were outside of baseball because he was not a good student, which he was always embarrassed about. So he never, he was at St. Lawrence for a semester, and he was not a student. But anyway, he went into New York, and they did all this testing to see what he was good at, and of course, it came out that he had a very warm personality and enjoyed people. So they said, "You're a salesman." And that's what he was. So West Vaco, paper company in New York, picked him up. And he was with them until they were bought out by, I think, Stone Container, whatever. And he still had customers that still would only deal with him. He had customers in Canada. And they only would deal with Daddy because he was the same easygoing guy in business, dealing with customers as he was, I mean, that was just his personality. So West Vaco, that's what he did. And he
Were you living in New Jersey at that time?
Oh, yeah, New Jersey.
He commuted to New York.
And he would, sometimes he'd take the train, and I can remember he'd come home from the city, and that's when they used to wear those garters below your knee to hold up your socks. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
He'd come home from New York. We did not have air conditioning then, and Mom would fix him a drink, and I can remember, and Daddy had calves. His calves were huge. He was very narrow through the knee, and he had a narrow thigh, very developed, but his calves were huge. And he would take off that garter thing holding up his socks, and you could see the indentation on his calf. But anyway, Daddy worked very hard, and he took his job seriously. He commuted and faithfully and worked hard, and that's what he did.
Thank you for sharing your memories of your father, both of you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Paul. Thank you, Paul. All right, we got the alias Mr. Antonelli. Judge Jim, you are up.
Thanks, Gary. Thank you, ladies. I'm really enjoying this evening. I first became a Giants fan in the late 60s. And when my father realized I was becoming a Giants fan, he went out and he bought me a record album of the great sports calls of all time. And of course, the Russ Hodges call with your dad's home run was on there. And that really cemented my love for the Giants. I wore that record out. And one of my daughters brought me this. I don't know if you
Oh, the
Oh, the
bobblehead.
bobblehead.
Yeah, I have
the
it.
bobblehead on top of the radio. And my grandson, when I was trying to make him a Giants fan, used to come down when he's 3 years old, and he pressed the button on here, which has the call, and he'd
Oh, wow.
open
You
his
can
fist
hear
and
it.
saying, "The Giants win the pennant. Giants win the
Giants win the
pennant."
pennant.
So this is really special to me.
That's funny.
So let me just begin with one quick question. Did you ever meet Russ Hodges, or your father's relationship with Russ Hodges? Was there any connection after or
Well,
through
Meg,
the
you
years?
wouldn't have.
I wouldn't know that, yeah.
No, I do not remember meeting Russ Hodges. I do have, though, I have a couple of, well, these are current, though. This is not old, but this is a great picture because I was going through stuff. And I have somebody here, I don't know who it is, and I know he's very familiar. Well, here's one of Daddy with Arnold. Uh, Daddy loved to play golf, and he was a lousy golfer, but these guys, they'd all get together. But this is a good one. And does anybody know who that is?
Yogi.
Yogi Berra.
Who this
Yeah.
is?
Can't see it. Gotta raise it up.
There's a glare on it,
Ted
man.
Williams. Ted Williams.
Looks like Ted Williams
Ted
is in the
Williams.
picture.
Yeah,
Williams.
that's Ted Williams.
Wow, he looks
Anyway,
ancient.
it's
Yeah.
kind of neat. Yeah, Yogi in the background. Who is this?
That's Cal Ripken.
Cal Ripken.
Cal Ripken.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. All right. Anyway,
I liked Cal Ripken. He's a good guy.
Up in Cooperstown, probably.
Yeah.
um,
I know his bat's up in Cooperstown.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seen it.
Cal
The
Ripken.
second thing I just wanted to raise with you is the reason I'm a Giants fan is that Gary referred to me as Mr. Antonelli. Johnny Antonelli's from my hometown. I got his autograph when I was a very young man, and got to know Johnny later on, and really, again, why I'm a Giant fan. But Johnny was traded for your father in 1954. And when he got to New York, when Johnny got to New York, he wasn't all that popular because everyone was
Right.
disappointed that your father got traded. But then when your dad got traded back to the Giants, he was roommate with Johnny. And if this is Johnny, a book of Johnny's memoir about Johnny Antonelli, and I won't read it because I want to respect everyone's time. But I just want you to know he says wonderful things about your dad.
Well,
They roomed together.
I think my mom was friends with his wife.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Yes.
That name was very familiar, Johnny. And I thought I had more pictures of him. I think I said to Gary that I had some pictures. I could not find them. We have so much stuff, and honestly, I don't know what to do with it all. I'm the one who
Write a book. Write a book.
I have boxes of reel-to-reel movies, and I don't know what to do with it.
Well, if you have any pictures of Johnny Antonelli and your dad,
We'll look. Yeah.
I'm in touch with Johnny's grandson and his son-in-law. I see them all the time, and I know they would love to see.
Yeah. Well, we can dig some stuff up.
If you ever dig that up, get it over to Gary, and he'll get it to me. I'll get it to the.
Okay.
Yeah, Gary, I'm glad
Johnny's
we have
family.
you as a connection because
Thank you. Thanks, Judge.
Right.
Frank Lewis.
Thank you.
Frank, you're up, and then Mars, Bill, and Frank. Frank Lewis, you're first.
I want to thank the ladies for a great presentation, but my topic was preempted about the loss of the two World Series shares.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
The question I was about to ask was preempted by an earlier speaker.
Oh,
About
okay.
him
Yes.
missing the two World Series.
That he
games.
missed the 2 World Series.
And what did he say about that, if anything?
You know, it bothered him that he never had a World Series ring.
I have his All-Star rings, Nan. I was wondering. I think I have them on the shelf.
He has All-Star, but he
Yeah.
never had a World Series ring, and that always bothered him.
And not
Thanks.
only that, he lost a great pile of money twice.
And the what?
He lost money twice.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Thanks, Frank. Mars, you're up.
Thank you, Nancy and Megan, for joining us. This has been very exciting for me to listen to all these memoirs. The first thing I have to mention is about family resemblance. My daughter looks like me. My son looks like her mom. Nancy, do you feel you look like your mom? Because Megan sure has the same like facial structure of her dad.
Yeah, I do.
Megan
And
does resemble, yes. And my son looks, you can see it in Megan's son, there is a strong Thompson resemblance. Yes. I don't know who I look
thank
like.
Yeah, I don't know who you look like, Nan.
I look
Sorry.
like me, right? Yeah.
So I did get your dad's autograph at what I call Snorkel Park when the Giants are not playing well. But now back to the sign stealing. Your dad hit Ralph Branco all season long really well. And in August and September, when the Giants made that great run, they had a great road record where there was no sign stealing at all. A fantastic road record. So, I think that whether he got the sign or not, he just hit Branker all season long. So you could put the sign stealing to rest, in my view.
Well, he always said that when he hit that home run, he was in a mental zone he'd never been in before. And Don Mueller sliding into third broke his ankle. And he said that broke the tension for him, where he said, and he says it, and he told Josh this in the book too. He said he got into a mental state and he said, I've never had that feeling before, but all I could think about, and he called himself, you SOB, give yourself a chance, just give yourself a chance. And so, yeah, I mean, and I know they did the statistics off, whether they were playing at the Polo Grounds or on the road. And I don't know, I think it came out kind of even, whether they, they obviously weren't stealing signs on the road. So,
Yeah, that's what I mean. They had such a
Yeah.
great road record
right.
that they were on a great roll. They were on a great roll. And he was hitting Branco all season long, not just in the playoffs. Earlier in the first game, I believe he hit a home run.
Yeah, I think
So
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like I mean, maybe some other players benefited by that, but I really don't think that your dad benefited by that at all because simply he hit Branco all season long.
Well, I agree with you.
I agree.
Of course, we're his daughters, right?
Ladies,
No,
do you
but I
have,
mean,
ladies, do
big
you have
thing.
time for 3 more questions?
Sure.
Wonderful. Bill Clink,
Thank
you're
you.
up.
Gary, thank you, ladies.
Bill, speak up. You're too low.
Well, I don't know. I'm off on in another planet here, apparently. My sound is on. Can you hear me better now?
No, but we hear you.
But you hear me, but barely. Okay.
Yes.
Then I'll ask one short question. Then I had a couple of photos I thought they might enjoy of that day when he hit the home run. He was traded from the Giants in 1957 after the season, and he never had a chance to play in San Francisco.
Right.
Did he ever speak about any regrets not having played in San Francisco with all of his teammates as they made that transition out to the West
Yes,
Coast?
he was very disappointed, and my mom was really upset. She was really looking forward to going to San Francisco. So yes, I think that hurt a lot. And I was still very young, but I don't remember that. But I know that it bothered both of them. He was
Oh.
disappointed.
This
It's
is spring training 1952.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And it's a ballpark somewhere in Florida. I don't
Bill,
know.
your fingers look very nice, Bill, but we need the picture.
Sorry.
Move to your right. Move to your right.
There you go. There you go.
So, I'm sorry. I'm not good on photos.
That's good.
Oh, that's
There
good.
he
That
is.
that works.
Yep.
There, we spoke of him and at the card shows. There's one.
And
Okay.
who is that
Okay.
with him? Who is next
That's
to him?
uh,
Is that Garagiola?
no, that's
I can't tell.
can't tell.
I have pictures.
It's Branca, I think. Oh, it's
I think it's
Branca.
Ralph Branca.
Yeah.
That is Branca, believe it or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
They look old at the time, but
Yeah, okay.
you know.
Yeah.
And
Yes, I remember them
we
together.
acknowledge him here.
I remember them together at the Hall of Fame weekend,
Okay.
Okay.
sitting side by side.
We acknowledge them here in Arizona. He has his own stone here in the walkway. We acknowledge the
Oh, neat.
Oh, that's
here.
really nice.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Why
Yeah,
did they do
that's right
that?
here.
Why would
He
they have
did
done
kiss
that?
the bat that day,
Oh, we have that, Nan. We
I've
have
got that.
picture. Yeah.
and he signed that one, and so did Branca for me. And here he is. I like this one because you can see Branca shrugging.
Oh, yeah. We have that, Nan. Yeah.
Well, here, I can show you. First of all,
they both signed him. I don't know if you have this one. This is the last one. Here he is on
Wow, that's
December
nice.
6th, 1951 at Curtis.
Yeah, I haven't seen.
There he is getting a sterling silver
Rocha.
base there of DeRochers with him on that.
Wow.
I've never
Thank
seen
you.
that
Thank
one.
you, Bill. Bill, you got to work on that computer.
It was short, sweet, and to the point, and you didn't have to hear me.
No, we can.
Right?
I hear you. Hey, I have a picture.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Nice.
That Pofko there looking
Have-
down.
Let's go with the wall. That's called.
Have go at the wall. Yeah.
Go
The
at
question
wall,
is,
yeah.
who has the ball?
Oh, yeah. Well,
Well,
that's
yeah,
another.
on the wall, right, Mars.
Then I
Thank
have.
you, Bill. We're going to go to Frank, Ken, and then
Yeah.
the McGee's are going to wrap it up. Frank, you're up. Frank Sexton.
Yes, ladies, thank you very much. This has been a real treat. I encountered your father with Ralph Branca at some charitable event in Manhattan, maybe the 1990s, possibly the 1980s.
Mm.
And I asked them to sign a baseball, which they cheerfully did. And then, babbling like a fool because I was starstruck, I said, you guys are all my father ever talked about. And one of them said, boy, that must have gotten tiresome. And they laughed at their own humor. I think they had kind of a shtick going on.
They did.
But they really enjoyed themselves at my discomfort. And then I remember when the Ide book came out, and I think it was 2001, I remember reading that there had been something of a brief strain between them, or maybe even an estrangement,
Yes. Yeah.
And I often wondered, as they got to be old men, what was their relationship like, if you know?
Well, I have my opinion. Meg, do you have an opinion?
I'm sorry. My dog is distracting me because she's crying and she wants to go out. No, but probably not anything more than you would. I think I know what you're going to say.
I would say that Daddy always felt sorry for Ralph, that he was the goat, and he reached out to him because of Daddy's, personality. He included him, and he was very good to Ralph, and they did get a thing going. And Ralph, they had a good relationship, but a lot of that was on the surface. It wasn't as deep, perhaps. They worked well together, but I would say there were still some issues there. I think it was always about the sign stealing and whether he stole the sign or not.
Right.
So, Ralph could be nice to him, but then he could also, be not nice when he was with his old buddies with the Dodgers. He could turn. And Daddy would just kind of laugh about it. But there were two sides, I would say. So no, he was. Ralph came to his service. Bobby Valentine and his entourage, because Ralph usually had an entourage with him, and Daddy never did.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Ken Kelly.
Yes, I'm going to follow up on that. I actually got to know Mary Branca Valentine very well when Bobby was with the Texas Rangers as a manager. And I'll probably just state the same thing. I think there was a mutual respect, but there was also some underlying issues between the two. But I kind of gathered that from talking after I found out who Mary was and approached her years in the 80s when Valentine was there managing and asked her about that. Nothing negative from Mary. She just said, there was a mutual respect, but there was some underlying issues, but they got along in public when they were in public. So I just thought I would reiterate what you said. I also wanted to let you know I do have Echoing Green signed by your dad.
Oh, okay.
And I have a great photo of him holding that book that he signed.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So I just wanted to share that with y'all.
Well, thank you. No, Daddy was a Scotsman, and he would be the first to say, he and Ralph made money. And they made money signing their balls. And when was it Steinbrenner, not Stein, the big
Steinway or something?
Whatever.
Steinberg? I don't know.
Steiner Sports.
Oh my God.
Steiner Sports. That's what it is.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And I remember they had 1,000 baseballs to sign. And I was up visiting again in the summer. And I remember there were baseballs everywhere. And Ralph had signed and then ships them all to Daddy, and then Daddy just sitting there writing, and he'd get cramps in his hand. But anyway, Daddy enjoyed picking up a little extra cash. That's how the Scots are. So he was happy to get along with Ralph.
Thank you, Ken. And James and Christina, why don't you wrap it up before I ask the ladies one last thing?
It's so great to see you ladies this evening. I'm James, and my wife Christina here. Her father was Jack Lucky Lorkey that played with your dad with the Giants. Of course, Jack Lorkey and Larry Jansen.
Yeah.
And your father, Bobby, were all rookies in 1947. That was the big class, those three guys coming in there that year. And they, battled and set the major league home run record, and then finally made it to the series 4 years later. But one of my best memories was in 2002. In 2001, there was supposed to be a reunion for 50 years after the shot heard around the world, of course. But because of 9/11, they delayed it to 2002 here in San Francisco. And I'm not sure were you ladies there?
I was there. I was there with my sister-in-law, Judy, in 2002.
A wonderful
you
event.
You didn't go. I don't know why.
Yeah, wonderful event, getting to meet your father and some of the other players. And my favorite memory from that event over those 2 days was when Bobby met Christina, my wife. He had the biggest smile on his face, and he kissed her on the cheek. And you should have seen Christina's look. I don't think she had washed her face for a couple of weeks after.
He was very sweet. He was a very sweet man. Yes. I just remember how sweet he was. Gentle, like just talking to everyone, kind of quiet, but just very, very sweet.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. That's a good story. I had more pictures, and it's like, now I don't know where I put them.
Thank you so much, Christine and James.
Gary, I have something to show the ladies.
Megan.
Go very quickly.
Yes.
I hope you could see it. It's a plate I got at Cooperstown.
We have that.
You have that?
Yeah.
Both Ralph and your father came to my hometown of Sayreville to sign autographs, and Sayreville's only about 20 minutes south of where Watchung is, right down the parkway, about 20 miles. And there weren't that many people there. There just weren't that much interest. But I was speaking quite a bit to your father, and then finally Branca said to me, "Don't you have anything to say to me?" And I said, "Well, I like the way you threw the rosin bag down on the mound after you get the home run." But
I love it.
they were both gentlemen. They seemed very friendly. But of course, as was already mentioned, they were in public. They were like Abbott and Costello, kind of like a team.
Yeah,
And they were both very kind to sign this plate, which I've had since about 1990 when I was up at Cooperstown for one of the first times.
That's
so I just
great.
wanted you to see it before we call.
Thank you. Thank you.
Howard. Megan, I was going to ask you a question. We got one more. Willie, make it quick.
Sure. Thank you both for coming and sharing stories about your father. I enjoy it very much. I just want to ask if you would know what his siblings thought of him, because I understand he was the youngest of 6 children.
Yeah.
Here he is, a baseball star, hits the home run. I wonder if you would know anything about that.
Well, if I can find.
Yeah, his brother Jim was his mentor. Yeah, and you can talk more about that probably.
Aha. This was Daddy's brother, Jim, who was his mentor. And Megan, how does the quote go, Jim?
There was something, we were trying to find it, but.
Well, I did find it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
When he was discouraged, it was on the West Coast and I think in the services. But anyway, and Uncle Jim, Daddy's older brother, was really stepped up after his dad died. But Uncle Jim said to him, and it's in the book, I'm your
hardest critic. Your hardest critic
and most ardent supporter.
Something like that, yeah.
was Uncle Jim, who just always encouraged him. His siblings were very proud of him. Here's a picture of Daddy and all his, that's Daddy in the middle.
This is, and the little guy,
Guy in the middle. Very
and
close.
all sisters. Yeah.
He was close to his family. They were all very musical. And he, they'd get together. They'd come over from Staten Island. We still have family on Staten Island. Uncle Jim's has a son, Jimmy Thompson, who's still on Staten Island.
He's a firefighter, right?
Uncle Jimmy was a battalion chief in New York City. And after 9/11, that would have been the anniversary that October. And the Giants canceled everything. So Daddy and Ralph went in. They were on the Don Imus show in the morning, interviewed. And then they were at the Children's Hospital, which Daddy did a lot of volunteer with, speaking engagements. And from there, and we were all there.
It was just about 3 weeks after 9/11, right?
Yes, it was
3 weeks
after 9/11. So we were in Rudy Giuliani's entourage, and we go flying through the lights and everything else. Very exciting. And then we went to the firehouses. And it was very emotional. And we were at one of the houses when the alarm went off and all these young guys hop up and you're just thinking, this is what it was like at 9/11. This is what they did. And they never came back.
Yeah.
But Daddy and Ralph entertained. We were probably at about, 6 or 7 fire stations. And Daddy and Ralph would sing their song. For the firemen, and they do their little thing, and it was really kind of neat. And then we closed the stock exchange, and then my cousin got us into 9/11, and we were right.
We toured the grounds; they were still smoldering. We were in golf carts.
We were right there.
Yep.
We were in the firehouse right across the street, and it was a very emotional day. I did not go out the following year because I was still afraid to fly after 9/11. I just
Seriously?
Yeah, that's why I didn't go. I felt paranoid, so I didn't go.
Ladies, before I wrap this up, I had spoken to Megan, and I would like you to talk about. I know it must be hard, but one of your siblings, your brother, is no longer with us. Can you tell us about your brother and what happened with your father with HBO right after? Megan told me about this, and I think it'd be wonderful if you don't mind sharing it.
No. So, unfortunately, it was Father's Day 2001, well before 9/11. And my brother and I are 13 months apart. I'm the younger sibling. And my brother wasn't feeling well the day before and ended up dying suddenly on Father's Day 2001. And it was one of the most awful days of our lives. And I can't remember, Gary, what exactly I was telling you at
You
the.
told me your father was supposed to go to HBO.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So I mean, it was just horrific. And watching your dad lose a child, it's one of the worst things that can ever happen. And but he had committed to HBO Studios to go into the premiere of the documentary that HBO did called "Shot Heard Round the World," and it was done Ken Burns style, and it's phenomenal. And I don't know if anyone has been able to see it, but I highly recommend it. It was very well done. But here we all went into New York to HBO Towers less than a week after we lost my brother, and it was all for the sports writers. The premiere they did. And my dad got up and spoke afterwards, and I think his voice cracked at one point, and he actually said, "Excuse me, but I just lost my son." And it was just surreal. It was heartbreaking, but yeah, it was tough. That was a really tough time.
Yeah, we were all there for that. That was not good.
And he was Bobby Thompson Jr. And he was Bob. He didn't go by Bobby. Well, he was Bobby, but it was really Bob. It wasn't like people recognized his name all the time, I guess. So.
Well, it shows your dad, besides being a loving father, and saying he's going to do something and then doing it.
Yeah.
So honoring his commitment, like you said, that he always lived up to. So,
Mhm.
ladies, we cannot thank you enough. Let's give a nice round of applause to the Thompson girls, Megan Hahn.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Nancy Mitchell. Ladies, please come back and visit us. And again, you ladies need to warm up because I got a feeling the Giants do the right thing. You'll be out there next year on the mound.
Who knows? I don't know about that.
Well, I'll
you
go.
should be
I'd
anyway.
like another shot. I'd like another opportunity.
Hey, Norm, work on that. All right, Norm.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great.
Thanks
you again. Have a great week.
Go Mets.
We will see each other October 16th.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you.